Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. The Crossroads Apparel Event is now live in the game as of yesterday. Here's a sneak peek at some of the items it contains in the background here. And as per usual, apparel events follow a very simple rule set. You earn one key to open up the crate and gain an item from the collection every 4 shade levels that you progress in the endgame. Meaning that the quickest and most efficient ways to complete these apparel events revolves around how fast you can farm XP. And so, as I like to do every season a new apparel event that we get, I wanted to provide an updated and refreshed guide on how I go about completing these apparel events as effectively as possible. Now, spoiler alert, if you checked out my video on this last season or the one before, this is not going to be that different. My preferred way to go about this has not changed, but as always with stuff like these seasonal directive changes, and if anybody is coming back to the game or this is maybe their first apparel event ever, I still like to repackage and provide these guides for anybody that it may help out. So, let's not waste any more time and get right to it. Alright, so as usual, this is the build that I use and recommend for this specific farm. I will leave the link to the full build video and breakdown that I've done on this down in the description if you want the full details on how all of these pieces work together and things like that. But let's go over kind of the abbreviated version. This is the hotshot determined sniper build that a lot of people like to do for this kind of stuff. So you want a sniper, preferably the White Death, but just a good marksman that has determined on it. We're then using 4 pieces of the hotshot gear set across the mask, gloves, knee pads, and holster. All of these have weapon damage and headshot damage on them. I'm then using the named Walker and Harris chest piece, the Chain Killer, that comes with Perfect Headhunter. You could also just get regular Headhunter on a similar brand here if you'd like. Again, weapon damage and headshot there, including the mods. And then for the backpack, we have 1 piece of Providence for the headshot damage. This is the named version of the gift, which comes with Perfect Vigilance. Again, headshot everywhere there. I'm also using the Sharpshooter specialization for even more inherent headshot damage there. I also get access to this special scope that gives me even more headshot damage. And if we go over to the total stat breakdown, you'll see that on the White Death here, I'm achieving nearly 350% headshot damage, which is very, very good. That's what we're going for here, because essentially this build revolves around doing infinite one-shot chains, which works very well with many of the directives that you can put on because you don't have to worry as much about their specific conditions. So again, if you want even more details, then check out that build video that I've linked down below, but this is the general setup that I typically go for. Alright, now moving on to the world prep. This is an open world XP farm that we're going to be doing, so how do we want to set our settings and directives up to have maximum efficiency? That's what it comes down to, as I always say in these things, is how can you be the most efficient? I play on heroic. If you're not accustomed to that, then knock it down, right? If you're playing content that you're dying 50% of the time, then that's not an efficient XP farm because you're having to spend all that time respawning, running back, whatever. So if that means you have to set this to hard to be comfortable at your level, that's completely fine. If that means you do challenging, great. If heroic, even better, you get more base XP. But do whatever difficulty here is going to allow you to actually be efficient in the content that you're doing. Alright, then when it comes to this season's directives, we have some interesting choices here. If you're running the same kind of build that I am, then the 3 that I think are a must are Ammo Hoarders here, Fog of War, and Ragers. I don't think any of these 3 will impact you too heavily. They should still allow your build to do plenty fine and you to perform and function just as you normally do out in the game. Especially with the hotshot gear set's ammo refilling properties, you shouldn't have to worry about this one too much. The 2 that get more interesting are Cool Skills and Fragile Armor. Even though it's annoying, I do still choose to play with Cool Skills just for that extra XP. I can deal with not using my skills too much, and I try and usually just let them rest so that my Revive Hive is still ready when I need it. Fragile Armor is a tough one. This is the directive that has been bugged for quite a long time in the game. The devs have unfortunately not addressed the issue that's occurring with it. Personally, if you're not all that bothered by it, I played with it when the season came out and I was grinding out my season pass and I didn't have an issue. Is it a bit annoying sometimes? Yes, you do end up dealing with a lot of lower armor situations, but I would say this one is totally up to you. You'll get an extra 25% base XP if you choose to play with it, but again, it is a bit annoying. I'll probably leave it off just for demonstration purposes here, but I just want to underscore that it's not impossible to play with it, but just keep in mind the limitations that you might have. Alright, and then lastly, I always just make sure to reset my control points. That means we'll have the maximum amount of enemy activity spawning, which is what we want. Apply that, and then we'll come back right after. Alright, there we go. We have all of these new settings applied. What are we going to do now? Well, this farm revolves around public executions. These are these activities in the open world that, in my opinion, and, most of the communities, take the shortest amount of time and reward you with the most amount of XP. As you'll see right there, this one provides 460,000 by base, and that can easily go up towards 500,000 with some different variables in play if you use a 5th directive. And when you can complete these in easily 1 to 2 minutes, it means that you're getting a lot of XP very quickly, especially if you know where to look for them. The place that I always start when I'm going to look on the map for where I want to go and complete them is right down here in West Potomac Park. There's always a lot of activity spawning here, and as you can see, we have one right here, another one right here. The next best activity is also these, the propaganda broadcasts. So for example, and we'll do this in just a minute, to start my farm, I would fast travel here. I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I would look for another spot where there's some more popping up. Maybe there's some over here. I'd probably go and do this one. And by the time you make your way around the world and doing some of those that are close to fast travel locations, then I would probably come back and look here, see if any have repopulated, and start all over again. That's the general flow. That might seem daunting if you haven't done these types of activities before, but I promise once you get into the flow of it, once you learn some of the spawns, they become quite easy. So let's go take a look at how we complete one. Alright, so we're pulling up to this public execution here. How this works, there's one wave of ads that will already be spawned in when you arrive. All you have to do is kill them, one other wave will spawn, and as soon as you do that, you're done with the activity. So I'm going to see if I can't find a red bar here or something a little less tanky to shoot to begin with. So there we go, we got the first kill, and after that, the way this build works, you can just keep going and one-shot your way through everybody else. It's very effective. Try not to get blinded like I just did, but you'll be good. We got one back here that we will take care of. And again, because I've done this so often, I know that as soon as I kill this last guy, they're going to come out from the door right below him. And again, that's just something that you're going to have to get used to over time. The more you do it, the more you'll learn this stuff. So as soon as I take him out just like that, they're going to come out from right there. And you just take him out, and as soon as we do this, we'll be done with the activity. And just like that, once you talk to the hostage, you will see that we get a nice amount, almost 500,000 XP just from that alone. And that's all there is to it, folks. As I said, this will take you a little bit of time to get comfortable with, to get into the flow. I've been using this for several seasons in a row now, so like I said, I know all of these details, like where they're going to spawn at different locations. But again, if I were doing this right now from here, I would just go and knock all of these out in a row because they're so close to each other. Again, efficiency is your best friend. Don't go for ones that take you a long time to run to or that you can't access very easily. And then from there, I'm just looking for more that are easy to get to. Again, I would go to this one because it's right next to this fast travel point. I might look at some ones up here, usually up in the top left corner of the map might be a good spot if there's a few around here. And then once you've been gone for long enough of a time, I go back and restart my farm right here because there's always a lot spawning around this West Potomac Park area. So there you go. Those are the pro tips and secrets. So there you have it, everybody. That is a look at my personal method and recommendation for shade level farming for the purposes of the new Crossroads Apparel Event. As I stated, nothing too revelatory if you've been around here before for past seasons. But as always, I like to share the information that I have with as many people as possible. So like I said, if you're coming back this season, maybe this is your first apparel event, whatever the case is, I hope this helps some of you out. It did dawn on me too, this could be the final season that we're farming apparel events in this way. We don't know how they're going to work under Seasons 2.0, so could be the end of an era. Wild stuff. Anyways, very much hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Any thoughts, questions, comments, whatever, leave them down below. Per usual, I would appreciate everybody sharing their own methods that they use to farm XP for these events. My way is not the only way, it's not the right way, it's just the way that I use. So let's share the wealth and that knowledge down below. If you did like the video and you want to see more from me, then be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I got plenty more Division content coming your way. But that's going to do it for me today, everybody. I'm off to farm some apparel. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.